I want you to imagine a world with no prices, no wallets, no coins, no numbers telling you what something is worth. Just people, hunters, farmers, craftsmen, all trying to survive. If you wanted food, you didn't buy it. You negotiated. You traded a basket of grain for a piece of meat, a tool for a favor, time for protection. This was the barter system, humanity's first economy. And at first, it worked, but only when life was simple, because barter had a problem, a fatal one. Economists later called it the double coincidence of wants. But early humans just felt it as frustration. What if I have grain, but the butcher doesn't want grain? What if he wants shoes, and the shoemaker wants pottery, and the potter wants meat? Suddenly, trade turns into a maze. As societies grew, barter began to slow everything down. It wasn't flexible, it wasn't scalable, and it certainly wasn't fair. So humans did what they always do when survival is at stake. They adapted across different civilizations. Without any global meeting, without coordination, people began to do something remarkable. They started using objects not just for use, but for exchange. Salt, cattle, shells, beads, even stones. These items weren't money yet, but they were becoming something new, shared symbols of value. Salt was rare and essential. Cattle represented wealth and survival. Shells were beautiful, durable, and hard to fake. What mattered wasn't the object itself. What mattered was this silent agreement. Others will accept this from me. That belief, that trust was the real currency. Over time, one material began to stand above all others. Metal, not just any metal. Gold, silver, copper. They didn't rot. They didn't rust easily. They could be divided, melted, reshaped, and most importantly, they were scarce. Gold had no obvious survival use. You couldn't eat it. You couldn't build shelter with it. Yet people across continents desired it. Why? Because scarcity creates value, and durability creates trust. Around 600 BCE, in the ancient kingdom of Lydia, something revolutionary happened. For the first time, metal wasn't just weighed. It was stamped, a mark from authority, a seal that said, "This weighs what it claims to weigh." Coins were born. This changed everything. Trade became faster, markets expanded, strangers could exchange value without knowing each other. Trust no longer depended on personal relationships, it depended on symbols. Kings and states quickly realized the power of this. If you control money, you control trade, you control armies, you control society. Coins began to carry faces of rulers, gods, empires. Money was no longer just economic, it was political. But here's the deeper truth we often forget. Gold didn't become valuable because it had value. It became valuable because we agreed it was. Money, at its core, has always been a story we tell each other, a shared belief that says, this object represents effort, time, and trust. And as long as everyone believes the story, the system works. From barter, to metal and to paper, to digital numbers on a screen. Money has never been about the material. It has always been about trust, and the moment trust breaks, money becomes just another object, silent, worthless, forgotten. Money solved trade, but it created something else, control. Once coins spread, something subtle happened. People stopped trusting each other and started trusting symbols. A stamped piece of metal could travel farther than any human reputation ever could, and whoever controlled that stamp controlled the economy. Kings understood this very quickly. At first, rulers promised honesty. A coin meant a fixed weight of gold or silver. But temptation always follows power. Slowly, almost invisibly, coins began to change. Less silver, more copper. Same face, same value, on paper. This was debasement, an ancient trick used by empires running out of money but unwilling to admit it. Rome mastered this art. Early Roman coins were nearly pure silver. Centuries later, they were barely silver at all, and people noticed. Prices rose, trust weakened. Soldiers demanded more pay. The empire didn't collapse overnight, but its money collapsed first. This is a pattern you'll see again and again in history. Money fails before societies do. As trade expanded across continents, another problem appeared. Gold was heavy, dangerous to transport, easy to steal. Merchants needed a safer solution, so they did something radical. They left their gold with goldsmiths and received paper receipts. These papers didn't represent value, they were value, because anyone holding that paper could redeem it for gold. This was the birth of paper money, not invented by governments, but by traders. Later, states took control, and once again the story repeated. As long as paper could be exchanged for gold, trust remained. But wars are expensive, empires grow greedy, and promises become inconvenient. So governments slowly removed the link, first temporarily, then permanently. Paper money stopped representing gold and started representing authority. Fiat currency was born. Money now had value because the state said so, not because it was scarce, not because it was tangible, but because everyone else accepted it. And this brings us to a disturbing realization. Modern money is not backed by gold, it's backed by belief. Belief that banks will honor withdrawals, belief that governments won't print endlessly, belief that tomorrow this currency will still matter. Most of the money today doesn't even exist physically. It's numbers on screens, entries in databases, promises stacked on promises. And yet, we live our entire lives chasing it, working for it, fighting over it, sacrificing time, health, and relationships for it, all for a system that only works. As long as we trust it, money began as a tool to make life easier, but over time it became a measure of success, then a measure of worth, then, for many, a measure of identity. And that's where the real danger lies, because when money becomes the goal, instead of the tool, societies lose balance, and history has shown us what comes next, again and again and again.